Alright, well that about does it on this hunt. I'm about to get down. I have been cursed ever since my great first few days. I hunted a Saturday after I killed my first 2 bucks and got my brother-in-law a deer. But since then, I have not seen a single deer from the stand. On last week of coming out, I saw 4 deer in my food plot and 4 does. Stalked into about 70 yards. I had a good shot at 70 yards, but as I tried to get closer, I don't know if they saw me or what. They just kind of slowly went out their bags. Didn't have any luck. So while we're still waiting on something to happen around here, I was going to talk about my trip. Last year, I went to Texas for my birthday. That's what started it. I wanted to get to go twice, so it wound up being a great year. We get there late at night, like 2 in the morning. Of course, we got to be up at 4, so we take a little bit of a nap. Get up. Jared, my brother-in-law, takes us to where we're going to be hunting because we have no clue. I mean, it's nighttime. We haven't even seen the ranch yet. He drops us off at our stand. There's one other couple that he was working with, a client of his that he brought out there. So they're hunting together. I dropped them off. Then he dropped me off at a different stand where he had seen a big axis last time he was there. Deer walked out, but no axis deer at all. He comes and picks me up about mid-morning. We head on out to pick the other couple up. When we get there, they're grinning from ear to ear. And we're like, how'd y'all do? And they pointed out probably about 70 yards away, and you could see the antlers sticking up. They were like, we got one, a big old axis. We were like, awesome. We got high-fiving and stuff, and she had killed it. He said, yeah, and mine ran off that way and pointed. He said, it's about 75 yards over there. We were like, you had 2. So on the first morning, within 30 minutes of daylight, a big old herd had come through, and she had shot one. And then like an hour later, another herd had come through, and he had shot one. So I'm excited because I knew access in the area, but I was like, man, that could have been me in that stance. But they killed some really nice. We measured, both of them were gold class. The way they measure the axis deer, one we measured to see if maybe any close to the state record. It wasn't, but the one she killed was a monster in full velvet, both of them. So, yeah, it was an exciting morning for them at least, but it was for me too because I thought there would be some good ones in the area. One afternoon I got set up and it was early. I mean, the feeders hadn't even gone off or nothing, and I'd only been in the stand maybe 10 minutes, and this little funky horn buck came out, and I thought I could shoot him, but I wasn't sure. So my sister really hadn't got to hunt much either, so I said I was going to wait and either get it okayed for sure, got him on video obviously, and if he was okay to shoot, I'd shoot him, or I was going to let Jade went back there and hunted a couple of times trying to get him, and never could. Never saw him again. But probably should have shot him. If I learned anything over my first trip there, I made the worst choices after worst choices after worst choices. They've got so many axes here they really want you to get rid of, and I passed on a couple of them that I shouldn't have. Because after that first morning, when they killed those big ones, I was thinking big ones would come along. You only get to kill 2 deer. That's why they have it limited, so because a lot of people hunt out there. So I didn't want to shoot a small one and wait because there wasn't many of them around at all. The little funky horn buck came out and he kind of circled around. He hung out for a while. And wind was blowing really hard. He checked the feeder, so wasn't no feed. He headed on off. I don't think nobody ever saw him again. And it was a hard week of hunting. I think I was there 5 days, and I hunted. I was on a mission. I wanted something bad. I hunted until lunchtime, come home, eat a little bit, and head back out to a different stand. That's really how it wound up being. I did see a lot of activity. I mean, deer everywhere, and some of the funnest hunting I've ever had in my life. And finally, I was in the stand that the people had killed. The couple had killed the big 2 out of early afternoon again. I don't think the feeders had gone off yet either. A small axis doe came out, and I watched her for about 20 minutes, and she hung around. And usually they're herd animals. You always see a bunch of axes, but she was by herself. I couldn't go on. I never saw anything else. And just a young doe, but they're wanting to get rid of everything that you can out there because they're out competing the whitetails. And so I went ahead and took the shot because it was early in the afternoon. least got some meat, and access to your meat tastes awesome. So I had to have at least successful enough killed my first axis. And that was fun, a little bit of pressure off, but now I've only got one deer left to kill because I've killed the doe. So pressure's still back on a little bit. So in my mind, bad decision to shoot her. Again, bad decisions. The worst decision that was made the whole weekend was not made by me. It was made by whoever told me I couldn't shoot the big deer. And I'm sitting there in that same stand. I think it was the next afternoon. I hunted there a lot because there's a lot of action there. I'm sitting there and I'm talking about the biggest deer I've ever seen in person. I mean, that monster deer. And I videoed it was on this half of the blind, and I knew I couldn't shoot, so I had my phone out videoing, walking through. So I'm trying to find that footage. I don't know. And then I had this camera on the other side, so I just left it. When he came to the other side, I picked it up with that camera, and he walked on through, went and drank some water, and cleared on. I mean, he probably was 8 points. I mean, he wasn't just huge on inches, but I mean, tall, wide. The biggest deer I've ever seen in person by far. He was nice. Did I mention the antler restrictions? And I think he knew it because he just kept hanging around and hanging around and hanging around. And oh my God, he's huge. Worst thing about him was as he walked off the distance. He hopped the fence onto the neighbor's property, and I mean, probably 30 seconds after that, boom! So I don't know if it was him or not, but I told Jared when I got back, I was like, he ain't allowed no more. If he kept walking the same way he was walking, he was busted. But it was fun to see. But man, I wish I could have shot him. Coolest thing I saw, I did not get a video camera because I thought it was too dark to see. I was watching the viewfinder and it just was too dark. I let it go. Finally I shut it off, but a buck was drinking out of the water trough, a big buck. And I think I got him on video camera. I'm not sure how good you can see it, but I kept watching him, and a doe kept harassing him, like backing up to him while he's drinking water, like just kept harassing him. And finally he got up, mounted her, and bred her right there in front of me. It's the first time I ever gotten to see that. And he was a big, beautiful buck as well. Obviously couldn't shoot him. He wouldn't have made it to that far if I could have. He sat there a long time and she kept harassing him. I felt like that was something you don't ever really get to see, so that was fun to see. I wish I got the video camera rolling because I couldn't see it on the LCD screen. But as I got back and you can make the brightness go up, you can see him. So I'm not sure how good a footage it would have been, but I could have videoed it. It was cool. I left that whole week with major regret. But luckily it wasn't long afterwards. I had some friends going back for turkey season, and they offered me to go back, so I got to go back. Of course, they're major turkey hunters, and I didn't care much about turkey. I'd never been turkey hunting in my life, and didn't think I cared about turkey, but I was able to get a turkey while I was in Texas, and I just got the mount done. I'll show some footage of that. But I did a little feather mount with the spurs and with the beard, and it came back awesome. And so I thought I was kind of upset at myself for shooting that at the time, for shooting it, because I was not there for that. But I really, really am proud of it now. It's really beautiful. It's good in my office. And it was fun to say I got my first turkeys. And I got it on video. So that made it a plus. And I was excited about that. A whole bunch of them came in. It was like, I was sitting there. All of a sudden, like 8 of them came in. And I just shot the lead one because they all had beards about the same. While I was back the second time, I don't have hardly any footage because it was I pretty much just walked around still hunting, hoping I'd see something. They weren't, the feeders, it was summertime, it was turkey season. The feeders weren't really working. The axis deer don't really come to the feeders anyways. And first morning I sat there and had a couple deer walk out, and the whitetails are already starting to shed their antlers. I had 2 bucks come out. One had antlers, the other one had already shed. So found lots of shed antlers around while I walked around for axis mostly, but axis, they have horns all year round. Sometimes they're in velvet, sometimes they're hard horn, but it's not like a certain season like whitetails have. You could shoot a doe you think it have already shed its antlers, and you could go and have little ones that were just now growing in full velvet and kill them hard horn ones. And I hunted hard. I'm talking about walking miles and miles. I walked that whole 1,000 acres just about every day. I think I was there 4 days that time. So the first morning where the 2 bucks came out was really the only time I sat in a tree stand. The rest of the time I just started walking around because they were turkey hunting, so I was trying to avoid them. They said they were going to turkey hunt on this section of the ranch, and I'd go to the other side and walk around. Saw axis everywhere, just couldn't get a shot. I missed one time. I shot through the bushes. I heard of them, big old antlers, and it was a little too thick. I shouldn't have shot, but I took the shot because I don't know, bad decisions, heart pumping out, and just the pressure. I don't know what it was. I was rolling one so bad, and but I missed him. He was close to. Just had a little bit of a thick tree between us, but it was fun when you're walking up that close to him. I'd been hunting hard, and finally it was just wore out. I had an afternoon hunt left and a morning hunt left, was all I had. And in my career there, I'd killed a turkey and I'd killed the axis doe with no horns. And so it was the last afternoon, and it was hot. I mean, it was during the daytime, it was getting up close to 90 and stuff. I mean, it was hot. So they suggested that I'd go hunt over water. And the only place that they had water was a spring there at this time of year. And so I went and looked at the spring. There was no stand. They had a picnic table on the side of the water, a little spring lake. And so I went and sat on the picnic table, and I found a little folding chair next to the picnic table. And I went and pulled the folding chair back up against the tree. And just a metal folding chair hid between 2 trees, sitting there on the creek, because I'd been walked around some before then. I'd see axes everywhere, just couldn't get close to them. Big, beautiful axis deer. And so I'm sitting there on the folding chair, just relaxing, because I'm wore out, really hoping something would come get a drink of water. While I'm sitting there, I hear a couple of rocks fall to my left. I think the deer will come to the right, because that's where the spring must flow to. I thought they'd come up there because it's easier. Where I'm sitting was kind of like a real steep, rocky bank, and real thick. So I thought they would go to the easy part of the water. So I'm sitting there thinking they'll come about 40 yards downstream, or hoping they would. If I hear those rocks fall, I don't even really move. I just keep looking where I'm looking. And then I feel something, and I'll turn to my left, and there is a beautiful hard-horned axis deer with his head in the spring, drinking it. Probably 11 yards from me. I mean, the spring's not very wide. I'm on one end of it. He's directly across from me. And so I slowly raise my gun up, get him in a scope, and he's kind of facing me. So his horns are like right across his heart. So I wait while he's drinking, and as he raises his head up, as soon as he clears his head past his vitals, I pull the trigger, and I mean, it hits him. He jumps straight up in the air and falls into the creek. So he swims across the creek, gets up, swims. When he gets to the other side, I shoot him again. So that's my story of my first axis deer. Beautiful, so happy, finally got the monkey off my back, and that was early in the afternoon. It was fun. that made it all worthwhile. It was awesome. They're trying to get in some more turkeys. They've killed one turkey, I think, but been on them, but hadn't really gotten a whole lot, so they're trying. While walking around the days beforehand, I noticed every time I passed this one area, there was access there. It was a real well-worn trail, and one time I was coming down the road walking home, and when I topped the hill, a big old huge axis was standing right in the middle of the road. So I knelt down on my knee, pulled the gun up, pulled the trigger, had him dead center, and safety was still on. Clicked the safety off, he walked across the road. So I stand up to run down to see where it trails he went down, and as I take a step, another one steps out just as big. So I kneel back down, and he goes across the road. I never got a shot. I stand up, another one steps out. They got me 4 times doing the same thing, and finally when the 4th one walked out, I stayed down for about 10-15 seconds, nothing else came. I got up, ran down, not ran, but as fast as I could quietly, stalked through the bushes, actually found another axis deer. It wasn't him, I don't think, in the bushes, but he saw me before I saw him. He jumps up, takes off running. So I was on him like crazy. I just couldn't seal the deal until the spring, but all this was before then. But anyway, since I know that spot is hot, the next morning I said, I'm gonna go. I went and found the mesquite tree about 75 yards up the hill where I was when I topped it, and just kind of sat down on the ground, leaned up against the tree, and as daylight came, I could they started fouling through those velvet, small ones, spikes, big ones, and just started coming through, and all of a sudden I looked over to the right, and there was he stepped around the edge of the road, big, huge, old axis deer. We see his horns. He's not as huge as some of them are, but he was most axis deer are 6-pointers. That's just kind of how they are. Typical axis deer, 6-pointers. Every now and then you'll get an 8-pointer. This one was an 11-pointer, which nobody I've ever heard of has ever seen anything like it. Just little stickers down around the faces, but really cool looking rack. Half velvet and half hard. He's got his velvet starting to peel, but just beautiful rack. So I shot him, and he ran off a little while. I thought I'd miss. I thought I'd hit him high, but I was able to find him. So I was pumped up about it because he was beautiful. I was really, really proud of him. I got him hanging up in the game room. That I was out there early. The people turkey hunting hadn't even driven out yet. They were hunting over there pretty close to me. So he runs off. I'm like, I thought I'd missed. I hear them drive by on down the other road. They didn't hunt 10 minutes. All of a sudden I heard boom, boom. They killed 2 turkeys, called them right up. I hear them drive back by, and about that time I found him. I saw the blood and went and found him. I drug him about halfway back up to the road, then went home because I knew they were home. I was waiting on them because I knew they were hunting close. I didn't want to drive back until they got done. So when I heard them drive by, I went home, got them, we came back and got him, took our pictures and stuff. And that was the last morning. The other buddy I was with, as they got their turkeys, he went and walked around trying to find an axis deer because they'd been seeing them like crazy. And he'd actually missed one earlier in the week while he had taken his rifle with him while they were turkey hunting, and had a shot at one for a couple hundred yards away and missed it. He wound up, we went and tried to scope out. His scope was about 12 inches off. It was way off. So with all that going on, I was feeling the pressure to get one, but I got my axis deer, got the good meat, got the trophy. So I was pumped up about Texas. I love hunting Texas. Hopefully here pretty soon we'll go back and I'll dedicate some to the video camera, and we'll get some more videos. Thanks for watching. Nothing happening around here. We'll see what happens here pretty soon. Hopefully we'll get on some. Youth weekends next weekend. I got my little nephew's coming up front for the first time, so hopefully we'll get him a deer. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.